quite like you.
I am glad to be back in Cleveland, Ohio. We've got the slowest job growth in half a century. Incomes were not going up, they were going down. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. That's what those ideas produced. And we've been working for 4 years now, Ohio, to clean up the mess that those policies left behind. Now, Governor Romney understands this. He knows his plan is no different than what we tried under the previous president. So in the final weeks of this election, since he knows that it's probably not going to be real popular, he's trying to kind of fuzz things up a little bit. He's counting on you to forget. He's hoping that you come down with what we call a case of amnesia. He's hoping you won't remember that his economic plan is more likely to create jobs in China than here in Ohio, because it rewards companies that ship jobs overseas instead of companies that create jobs right here in Ohio, right here in the United States of America. He's hoping you won't remember that he wants to give millionaires and billionaires a $250,000 tax cut, and the reason he can't explain it is because the only way to pay for it is either by blowing a hole in the deficit, making it even bigger, or making your taxes higher. Don't move hope. He's hoping that if he just keeps on saying how much he loves cars over and over again, that you won't remember he wrote an article titled that was titled "Let Detroit Go Bankrupt." I mean, I don't know how a guy sits on a stage talking to tens of millions of fellow Americans, and you are saying somehow that you were all for the auto industry when everybody remembers you weren't. The people of Detroit remember. The people of Ohio remember. If Mitt Romney had been president when the auto industry was on the verge of collapse, we might not have an American auto industry today. We'd be buying cars from China instead of selling cars to China. The auto industry supports 1 in 8 Ohio jobs. It's a source of pride to this state. It's a source of pride for generations of workers. I refused to walk away from those workers. I refused to walk away from those jobs. I wasn't going to let Detroit go bankrupt, or Toledo go bankrupt, or Lordstown go bankrupt. I bet on American workers. I bet on American manufacturing. And I do it again because that bet always pays off. So now in the closing moments of the election, Governor Romney's hoping you too will come down with a severe case of amnesia. So I'm here to tell you, Cleveland, if you start feeling a temperature, if your eyes are getting a little blurry and your hearing's getting a little muffled, you know, if you're feeling a little weak, you need to know that whatever the symptoms are, don't worry, Obamacare covers pre-existing conditions. We can fix you up. We can make you well. There's a cure, Ohio. You just have to make sure to vote. And by the way, Saving the auto industry wasn't popular when we were doing it, even in Ohio, even in Michigan. But it was the right thing to do. You know that every single day when I get up in the morning, I'm thinking about you. When I walk into that Oval Office, I'm fighting for your families.
Amen.
And we may not have gotten every single thing done that we need to get done, but I have kept the commitments and the promises that I made. I told you I'd end the war in Iraq, and we did. I said we transition out of Afghanistan, and we are. I said we'd refocus on the terrorists who actually carried out the 9/11 attacks, and Al-Qaeda is decimated, and Osama bin Laden is dead. We kept those promises. A new tower is rising above the New York skyline. Our heroes are starting to come home. I've kept those promises. You know, I was proud and humbled to learn today that we have Colin Powell's support in this campaign. And I'm grateful to him because of his lifetime of service for his country, as a soldier and as a diplomat. But I'm also grateful to every brave American who serves in uniform, and they should know this: as long as I'm your commander-in-chief, I will sustain the strongest military the world has ever known. That's a promise I've kept. I promised to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, because anybody who's willing to serve our country should be able to, with honor and dignity, regardless of who they love. I kept that promise. I said that we would keep the American auto industry going, and today its engines are roaring at full throttle. Nearly 250,000 new jobs. Not just something the Midwest can be proud of, something America can be proud of. We're moving forward, Ohio. After losing 9 million jobs in the Great Recession, using the policies that Mitt Romney now wants to bring back, that caused all those jobs to be lost, we've now added, using my policies, more than 5 million new jobs in the past 2.5 years. The unemployment rate has fallen. Manufacturing's coming back to our shores. Assembly lines are humming again. We've got a long way to go. But Ohio, we've come too far to turn back now. We can't go. Look. Here's what's in my plan. I want to end tax breaks for companies that ship jobs overseas. I want to reward small businesses and manufacturers who create jobs right here in Ohio, right here in the United States of America. Number two, I want to cut our oil imports in half by 2020 so we control more of our own energy. We're less dependent on foreign oil than any time in the last 2 decades, and we're producing jobs doing it. And one reason, by the way, is because we increased fuel efficiency standards on cars and trucks made right here in America. So your cars and trucks will go twice as far on a gallon of gas. I don't want fuel-efficient cars or long-lasting batteries or wind turbines or solar panels built in China. I want them built here. I want them manufactured in Cleveland. I want them made in Ohio. I want them stamped with Made in America. We can do that. We can do it without sticking it to the middle class. I'm going to cut out spending that we don't need. We've already cut $1 trillion, but I'm also going to ask the wealthiest among us to pay a little bit more, so that we can invest in the research and technology to keep new jobs and businesses coming to America. And by the way, I'm not going to use deficit reduction as an excuse to turn Medicare into a voucher system. To get back to work. Let's put them back to work, rebuilding our roads and our bridges, our schools all across America.
Yeah!
Let's train our veterans as they're coming home to get some of those jobs. Let's make sure that we're giving them a chance to be police officers and firefighters and first responders. Let's make sure our veterans, when they come home, are being served as well as they've served us, because nobody should have to fight for a job when you fought for your country. You shouldn't have to fight for a roof over your head when you fought for your country. That's the plan we need. That's how you build a strong, sustainable economy. That's how you create good middle-class jobs. That's how you encourage new businesses to start here and stay here. That's how you increase take-home pay. That's how you give workers a chance, if they're willing to work hard, to build a better life for themselves.
That's how you show America.
That's how you make sure that everybody's got a chance to get ahead. That's what we can do, but we can only do it together.
Yeah.
Like Governor Romney's offering that's reckless and wrong, or you can choose the kind of policy that I've implemented that is steady and strong. You can choose to turn back the clock 50 years for women and immigrants and gays, or in this election you can stand up for that basic principle enshrined in our founding documents, that all of us are created equal. All of us endowed with certain inalienable rights by our Creator. That it doesn't matter whether you're black or white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, down the road, rich or poor, gay or straight, able or disabled, we all have a place in America if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to stand up. You can make it here in America if you try. That's what we're fighting for. That's who we are. Every day, I think about everybody out there, all across the country, who wants to work and is still looking for a job, whose homes may be still underwater or at risk of foreclosure.
We never quit.
The folks out there who, at the end of the month, are sitting around the kitchen table trying to figure out, how am I going to make all these bills? Michelle and I understand it because we know what it's been like to have a tough time sometimes. But what I also know, and all of you remind me of this every day, when I'm talking to the American people, we're tougher than tough times. We always bounce back. We always come out on top. Because we pull together. Because we look out for one another. Because we leave nobody behind. Because we don't forget where we come from. Because if we're successful, then we keep the door open for folks who are coming up from behind. Because we don't look backwards, we look forward. We look at that distant horizon. We look at that new frontier. We are not afraid of the future. America, our destiny is not written for us, it's written by us. And I promise you, you will continue to have a president who hears your voices. A president who fights for your families. A president who spends every waking hour trying to figure out how I can make sure that your lives are a little bit better. And more importantly, that all of our children's lives are a whole lot brighter. Ohio, I believe in you.
We believe in you!
And I need you to keep believing in me. And if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and work with me, knock on some doors with me, make some phone calls with me, we're gonna win Cuyahoga County. We're gonna win Ohio. We're gonna win this election. We're gonna finish what we started. We'll remind the world why the United States of America